All right, boys, we're watching Gloomwood preview here. Thief with guns, made by G-Man Lives here. One of my favorite YouTubers about all this stuff here. Go check him out. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll post the link later on. Gloomwood preview. Yeah, let's jump in. Let's see what he has to say about it. Smash him.
Well, 2020 might be shaping up to be one of the worst years of all time, but at least we can take a little bit of comfort knowing that New Blood Interactive...
Wait a second, this is back in 2020? Oh my god, still not out, dude? What? This is still not out? This is, what, we're 2022 now, boys. Wait a second. What is the plan? Is this plan out to be out soon? So, okay, still no news about that. Alright, fine.
have finally stopped dicking around and released a playable demo for Gloomwood.
Nice.
Yes, New Blood Interactive, a group of highly creative, talented and cool people responsible for titles like Maximum Action, Dusk and Medieval.
Awesome.
If Dusk and Medieval were homages to Doom, Quake and Heretic, well, Gloomwood is a pretty blatant homage to primarily the Thief series.
Ah, okay. Alright, I guess you're right, Glory. It is all about the Thief series.
Still some of the best and most atmospheric stealth games of all time.
Whatever, Benny. I think you should go sleep it off. No more mead for you.
From the mind of Dylan Rogers and David Szymanski, it's described as a game where you're trapped in a dark Victorian city where the grass is green and the girls are pretty.
Okay.
You've got to plan your escape using nothing but stealth,
That's a good rhyme, by the way. Trapped inside of it. What?
Grass is green and the girls are. Described as a game where you're trapped in a dark Victorian city.
Trapped in a dark Victorian city?
Where the grass is green and the girls are pretty.
Oh, the grass
You've
goes
got to plan your
awesome.
escape using nothing but stealth, eccentric weapons, the best kind of weapons, and of course your wits.
Okay. Smash them.
Inspired by the Immersive Sims of the late 90s and the early 2000s. Immersive Sims being a term no one ever seemed to use until about 6 months ago, and now it's one that people drop on Twitter daily like they think they've just discovered fire for the first time.
Yeah.
Anyway, at a time with these indie shooters where we're getting flushed with violent, blood-soaked murder death simulators,
this is overkill, right?
where bullet time and gun fu mashes together in a gore-soaked sensory
Bullet time
overload,
and
it's kinda nice to change things up a bit and play a game.
Which reminds me of that movie. What's that movie called? Where they had like Gun Kata? The Gun Kata movie? That movie is awesome. I forgot. You guys remember what's it called? It has Christian Bale in it. Before he becomes super famous, Christian Bale is in it. He's the main guy. And has gung fu, and it's all about like a society that removes all emotions. They can't lie. No, it's not about lying. They cannot love. They don't feel love or emotions and stuff, and it's crazy. It's a really good movie. I love that movie.
Instead, an elegant game for a more civilized age. Gloomwood is a stealth game first and foremost, so there's no more cultists, wendigos, or undead warriors to deal with. You've got a lean left and right button to look around corners without being spotted, and you're supposed to be running away from things instead of tackling them head on.
Equilibrium, that's it. Yeah, that's it, Glory. The one's very similar to the old school Thief games like Dark Project or the Immersive Sims. Ooh, that's
Instead of a light gem, you've got a little moon down to the bottom right of the screen, which fills up the more in light you are, meaning you're more
you can't see it, my face is behind it, but it's a little moon.
Visible to enemies, and of course you can mantle up ledges if you hold down the jump button. And these controls are going to seem instantly familiar to people who've played the Thief games, along with people who pretend they do. There's even different surfaces like metal that make more noise.
Okay, interesting.
About all it's missing is the lean forward button, but that never really made sense to me anyway. I mean, leaning forward, it was like you were Michael Jackson in that Smooth Criminal video. However, the main difference is that unlike in the Thief games, which gave you a non-lethal means to take out your enemies in the form of a blackjack, in this, you're basically just some kind of Victorian assassin, murdering these helpless NPCs from the shadows by stabbing them in the back with a goddamn sword.
Alright.
If enemies see you, they'll attack with whatever weapon they're equipped with the melee combat featuring a pretty basic blocking system. But you're not really going to be wanting to get into scuffles here,
you don't want to be fighting face to face, I guess.
staying out of sight and opening doors slowly and carefully. You
Okay.
can even lean into a door to listen to what's on the other side of it preemptively.
I
What
never
you hear,
play,
though,
honestly, I never played the Thief series. I know of them. I watch a lot of videos about people who played them. They're talking about them, like retrospectives of them and how they changed the industry, all about the lighting mechanics, walking stealth, all this stuff, how they implemented them on PC and how they brought all these engines in. And basically, they revolutionized all the ideas that we have when it comes to stealth gaming.
shock you. You can also pick up bodies and drop them in a dark corner. I mean, it's classic stuff. The main enemy force in this game are the Huntsmen, creepy NPCs armed with shotguns and axes that look like the Witch Hunter from Vermintide.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking, man. They look like Witch Hunter Inquisitors or something from 40k if you're into that. My favorite Immersive Sim of all time is Steve, but I already told you once the Ultimate Underworld is the true Godfather. Yeah, you know, there's always like, you know, it's going down the chain.
Combined with the glowing eyes of Peter McNichol from Ghostbusters 2. These guys patrol the city in a very routine fashion, sticking to a specific path, which is easy enough to learn.
Okay.
If they hear a noise or spot a dead body, they'll go into an alert state and start
he
searching
has a yellow
the area. But it's pretty standard stuff, and they're
he's
easy
a
enough
yellow
to
now.
elude, even on hard mode.
Smash them.
Underneath the city, you'll enter the sewers and pick up an old lantern, and now you're up against the bizarre-looking crowmen, who chitter about,
Crowmen?
wear fedoras, and patrol the sewers,
Okay.
searching for bottles
The
of
most
Mountain
important thing is
Dew
they're
while
wearing
they wait for
fedoras,
their
dude.
next speedrunning convention.
Lady.
Visually, this thing looks like a late 90s, early 2000s game. Like, the modeling for weapons and character
Late
models
90s,
is
early
pretty
2000s.
blocky and limited in detail. But it is kind of keeping it in the same vein as
Yeah, it does have that old school kind of PC game look, right?
the titles that it takes influence from. So don't expect this thing to be running with ray tracing anytime soon. Yeah, ray tracing. Remember that gimmick?
Yeah, is it gimmick, right? I mean, they're selling these graphic cards now for like so much money because it's like right RTX. It's like, oh, did you have the new RTX ray tracing? That's what it stands for, right?
In the Thief games, you had a bunch of objectives that would change depending on the difficulty mode you chose. Usually just requiring you to steal a bunch of loot and then complete some tasks that were related to the main story.
I never felt the difference. I never thought, oh man, this game has ray tracing, man. That looks good. Maybe it's one of those subtle things that you don't realize that it affects a lot of things. I don't know. We get onto the whole. Maybe you guys, if you have a video about ray tracing, send it to me. I'll watch it. Ultimate Award is true Godfather of all Immersive Sims. Yeah.
Gloomwood, though, is a little bit different, and here you're not really told jack shit. You just dropped into the city.
I'm not really that familiar, honestly, with Ultima Underworld. It sounds familiar,
Being able
though.
to
I'm
go
bad with names, you know that,
and
though.
see things to the beat of your own drum. There's way more of a sense of freedom to it. I mean, there's no radar, no objective markers, and it's just kind of cool to be able to take things at your own pace for once. Able to move back and forth between all of these separate locations without any kind of loading screen or interruption. I also got a bit of a Resident Evil.
Do these guys come back? Like, if you kill them, do they come back? Otherwise, I think like my first mission is to go all over the town and kill every single NPC.
vibe
Just
from the
like walk
whole
around,
thing as
like,
well.
you know.
Mostly
without having
in the
to
way
worry
that
about
the only
anything.
way to save your progress is to find what's basically the equivalent of save rooms, where you've got to use a phonograph instead of a typewriter to save.
Using that
The
sound?
noise that it makes when you begin a new game also sounds almost exactly the same as it does in some of those older Resident Evil games as well.
Okay.
Resident Evil.
There's also a bit of item hunting to be done as well. Like, the goal of the demo is to find 2 separate emblems, which you've then got to use to open a locked door in the town square.
Okay.
Kind of reminds me again of the medallions you also need to find in Resident Evil 2.
That's the
And
nice
if they
looking
also
chandelier on
included
there,
keys
dude.
with diamonds, clubs, or spades on them, well, that also wouldn't have surprised me. If you can find 15 coins scattered throughout the entire demo, you can even open up a super duper secret room that's hidden on the ass crack of the map.
That's awesome that they have a secret in there, man.
Aside from your walking cane, which is both the coolest and the lamest weapon of all time, you can
coolest and
also get a
lamest.
revolver and a shotgun to defend yourself with. Though ammo for both of these guns is about as rare as the amount of
I mean,
times that...
you guys gotta realize this is a demo from 2 years ago. Like, I wonder how much the game progressed in all this time. Outer was made by the same guys behind Thief and System Shock.
Dave
There
Oshry
you
has
go,
gone
man.
to the gym without tweeting about it. At least that's of course if you're playing the whole thing on hard mode, which you really kind of need to, considering the game is just far too forgiving otherwise. Ammo is just far too abundant on normal difficulty. There's less enemies as well, and if you even think of playing this on easy mode, well, then you're dead to me. In a real Condemned Criminal Origins vibe, you can also open the chamber for each weapon.
I mean, I'm sure they're gonna take all this feedback and make it harder. Thanks, man.
And check how much available ammo you got left in lieu of an actual heads-up
I wouldn't
display.
mind.
When you're low on health, you can jab yourself up with a syringe or eat half a dozen or so blocks of cheese. Yeah, luckily this guy's not lactose intolerant.
Calm down, baby. Have a piece of cheese.
Though I would be wary about eating this
Maybe he's from Skyrim, dude.
block of sewer cheese. I mean, that's a vintage I don't think I'd like to try.
That was nice. Yum yum.
Overall though, I think the whole thing's pretty good, but here's the part where I've got to turn into a nitpicking asshole and start talking about what I think they could improve upon in the final game.
Okay.
Well, okay then.
For starters, I think at the
I mean, okay.
moment this is just missing any kind of notable protagonist. Who we're playing as here is something that's never even explained to the player. I mean, we're just some guy going around stabbing people in the ass. Let's compare the
I mean, that's a good thing. I feel like mechanics or or gameplay trumps story. Honestly, I
whole
do
thing
think
to
so.
Thief again. Now, Stephen Russell's voice work for Garrett made him instantly likable as one of those classic thief with a heart of gold type of characters. For Garrett, his way of life was mostly just a means of paying the bills and keeping a roof above his head. One of the missions in the second game was just literally about stealing enough loot to pay the rent for the month.
I've
Okay.
been playing it safe by keeping a low profile, but as my landlord recently reminded me, the rent is late.
Gloomwood's playable character, whoever he even is at the moment, just kinda lacks that. And there's no reason to feel attached to the person
I mean,
we're
I guess
playing
it's a
as.
demo. That's why there's no story and all
Now,
that
I'm not
stuff,
saying
right?
every single game like this needs to have a fully voiced protagonist, but I do hope they include some kind of basic premise and character traits for who we're playing as. I do feel like there shouldn't be a weapon crosshair in the game either, and that aiming down the sight should be an essential mechanic. Now, I know you can turn the crosshair off in the menu, but having it on kind of downplays the more threatening aspect of the combat, and it just makes it seem too comfortable.
Too easy.
For a game that's entirely dependent on light and shadows to remain unseen, it's kind of odd that we're not even given any means to interact with any of these light sources. Now again, I'm not asking for water arrows or anything like that. I mean, that'd be a bit blatant, but at least being able to turn off light switches or power lights down to some extent would have been really cool. You can use a lantern in the
guess.
sewers,
They
which
could
I
add
guess
that
is
system, man,
close
that's
to what
for
I'm
sure.
talking about, but it's certainly not even close to the kind
I wonder
of
what's the
things we've got
final
in other
product
stealth
is, man.
games
2
like
years later,
Splinter
man.
Cell or
Still,
Thief Deadly Shadows.
that one's still out there, by
I'd
the way,
also like
guys.
to see more usage of light
Let's check it
sources
out on
as a means
Steam.
of helping the player to ascertain enemy positions.
Alright, I'm gonna go play some
in games with
Warfare.
dynamic
Let's
light
see,
engines,
tell
you'd
that.
often see the shadow of an enemy
Alright,
before
my
you
dude,
even
Glory, thanks
saw
so much
the
for hanging
enemy
out,
due
man.
to
I'll
there
catch you
being
guys,
so many
catch you
light
on the next
sources
one.
placed throughout the environments.
Okay.
I mean, the puppets in the Shellbridge Cradle in Thief the Deadly Shadows is something that comes to mind as a good example.
Alright.
I mean, look, the Unity engine is a modern graphics engine, but here it doesn't really fully feel like it's taking advantage of what that engine is capable of. When an almost 20-year-old game has better lighting effects, well, you know something's off. But I don't want to go too in-depth on this thing, considering it really only lasts 45 to 60 minutes for a first-time playthrough. And I mean, look, even in this early state, Gloomwood is interesting, appealing, and you can see the potential it's got. It's got solid sound design, it nails its aesthetics, and even though it wears its influences on its sleeve, there's still something so unique and fresh about it. At the end of the day, we just don't get too many
Yeah,
games
you don't
like
get
this.
games
I
like
mean,
this
everything
no
is
more,
trying to
man.
be some kind of retro FPS these days or a pixel art shooter. So
Yo,
it's kind
Corona
of
Bear,
cool
man,
to
what's
see
happening?
someone
What's
make
up?
a throwback to that other genre of first-person games. Who knows, we might even hear a few of those old voice actors coming back too.
That would be pretty cool,
There's
man.
a voice actor who pops up at the end of the demo, and the simple thought of this guy appearing more in the final build of this game just sells the whole thing for me entirely.
Inside at last, I am.
Old school.
Well,
Yeah, this is basically based on the Thieves game.
All that's
Oh,
left
yeah,
for you
that's
to do now
Bloodfire
is
there.
wakey hand off Snakey and go and give Gloomwood a try. So check this
Yeah,
thing
you can
out
check
on
out the
Steam.
demo,
Chuck it
man,
on your
guys,
wish
on,
list if it's your cup of tea, and then let's all sit
on
together,
Steam for
become
sure.
overnight experts on
It's
the
for
history
free.
of Immersive Sims, and then twiddle our
If you
thumbs
like it.
patiently while we wait for the whole thing to get finished.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this is gonna end up looking. It's pretty cool. So okay, we already gave it a like. Let me share the link, guys. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace, house for now. Bye.